Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Book Roadshow, except it's just me tonight. We'll see how this works. I'm having bandwidth issues. I don't know if it's the gaming and Netflixing that's going on in the house at the same time I'm trying to do this, or exactly what the deal is. Let me straighten my mustache and my beard. Check out my Stray Bullets shirt. What? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? At any rate, so let's talk some comics. Just gonna be me tonight. So we'll see how long I go. First off, I don't have any Marvel comic books. I'm not going to talk a lot of news. If you want to hear me talk about what's been being announced and going on with New York City Comic Con that is this weekend and that sort of thing, tune in tomorrow morning to Longbox Reviews channel, and we will be talking late breaking news. And I'm sure we'll get into all kinds of good stuff that is happening there. So anyway, like I said, no Marvel books from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I'm just gonna jump right into some DC books, then I'm gonna talk some independent books, and then I'll be done. Feel free to chat there in the chat window. I am going to be paying attention to that because, of course, I need the audience now, because otherwise it's just gonna be me talking to myself. But anyway, let's see, where do I want to start at? Now, some of these books I read, I kind of went about this week, and maybe because they were maybe because I was really tired when I read them too. I got them late and read them on days that maybe I hadn't gotten tons of sleep, so that may have something to do with my interpretation of what I read. But let's talk this new #1 first here, Justice League Odyssey. This is the third of the Justice League books. They're coming out. A new team against the galaxy of evil. So written by Williamson and art by Sejic, however you say his name. I don't know. This book got delayed pretty drastically. I think they had a couple issues in the can. I mean, even to the point to where they were drawn, and then somebody wanted some changes, so they had to redo the book. So this is our team of people. We have this, basically starts out with Jessica, Green Lantern. She's been appointed of protecting the, what zone are they calling it? It's the place where all of the worlds that were trapped inside the bottles, like Superman's home place was, all of that stuff. They were all busted loose, and they all come blasting out across this sector of space. Ghost sector. They're calling it the Ghost sector, and has all these different worlds in it. And she's been in charge of basically protecting that zone, keeping people from going in and out, because there's lots of dangerous stuff inside the zone. And we get a few pages of these different worlds, and the kind of the tragedies and violence that goes on. And the art is really cool, really colorful. Looks like great space stuff. But yeah, so Jessica is in charge of all of that. She thought it would be exciting. It actually is pretty boring. She's kind of complaining about the fact that it's kind of boring and whatnot. And then, of course, this ship goes flying through space, disrupting everything, and she has to chase after it. And the ship, of course, is one of Brainiac's Skullhead ships. This one's got flames painted on it. It's pretty epic looking. And inside it are Starfire and Cyborg. And a stowaway on the ship is Azrael. So kind of a random group of people. I mean, Cyborg and Starfire make a certain amount of sense. Cyborg's worried about what's in this zone that might be calling to them. Starfire is looking for her home world because she had seen that it was in one of these bottles back in the No Justice miniseries, kind of a thing. Jessica chases after them to first try and stop them, and then / protect them, and then she gets saved by them, and then they crash land on a planet in this place. They're trying to figure out what's going on, who's calling them, and basically young Darkseid is has called them there, and he implies that 3 of them, I believe 3 of them, Jessica, I think it's 3. No, it's not. It is 3, but it's not Jessica. It is Starfire, Cyborg, and Azrael are all deities of some sort that are being worshipped by different people on these different worlds and whatnot. I like the characters. I'm curious to see if something actually comes of this. I'm not this first issue. I wasn't particularly super excited by. I don't know this. Let's go in here because there's a beacon calling us. Worried it's something dangerous. This dark side, this version of this dark side character. I don't know. I don't know where this goes from here. I'm not really all that curious. I mean, I'm going to pick up a few issues of it. It wasn't horrible. So I'm ordering my comics soon. I'll probably put it on my list to buy again. So I'll get like the first 3 or 4 issues of it. But the art's decent. That's the big thing. Characters aren't out of character, but I just don't. I don't know. This Secret Call. I just don't like things, I guess, being tied into the No Fear thing because I really didn't think the No Fear thing was very good. So I'm not particularly sold on anything that has to do with that, I guess. But it's all right, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Along the same lines, the Justice League. Justice League issue number 3. I mean, Justice League Dark issue number 3. Feeding Time. This is the third part of a story arc. I mean, this is the end of this story arc. We get this characters introduced in here. It comes from the darkness that is where all of DC's magic supposedly comes from, or where most of it has been tapped into at this point. And it is utterly kick-ass. There are parts about this book I really liked and parts I didn't like. So this character pops up. He's a physical manifestation of these entities or this power from this other place. It's kind of snarky, and it basically says, humans, you've abused, you've taken our magic and abused it, blah, blah, blah. So now it's time for me to basically, kick the stuffings out of you because of that. And, okay, fine, I guess. But it annoys me that he says, call me the Upside Down Man. Why would you name yourself that, even if you are the upside down person? It just, to me, it was dumb. If the other characters would have referred to him as that, and he just didn't have a name or whatever, that'd be way, way more interesting. I mean, I get that why other people would call him the Upside Down Man, but naming himself that just seems incredibly random to me. So I didn't like that element of it, but there were other elements I did like. I mean, I kind of like the fight that kind of goes on. He basically shows everybody up, turns Detective Chimp into a puddle of goo that they have to scoop up and put in an urn, try and run away with him. Swamp Thing gets all giant and badass. This is the Tower of Fate that's been broken, and he's like gonna pulverize it, and then he gets fried by this Upside Down Man. But yeah, I mean, there's some really cool art in it. I mean, I love this whole thing where John talks about this sigil that he has got that supposedly can kill gods that he won in a card game against the devil that he throws out there. I mean, I guess I love this artwork, this whole paneling here, and then this little quick thing in here I like I said, I really like this art, but so the fight's okay. I mean, I like elements of it. I like some of the dangers of it. They tap into some special power. Wonder Woman has something unique, some unique magical property about her that the Upside Down Man, who knows all magic, he's ultimate magic power because he comes from the source of the DC magic. But Wonder Woman has some other unique something or other that gets tapped into mistakenly, and that somehow has power over the Upside Down Man, and she kind of wreaks havoc on him. I love this too, where Zatanna's talking to him. This kind of parallels the beginning of the book. In the beginning of the book, it kind of is a flashback of Zatanna's father teaching her how to use magic, and she kind of does the same thing, kind of talks Wonder Woman through this. But I kind of really like this big, there are two faces here, and then the panels around it. So I like the panel layout kind of stuff as far as that goes. So art-wise and panel layout, I really liked it. I mean, it was pretty epic looking. I'm always curious about when a magical thing gets crushed, where everything that it did suddenly reverses itself. I mean, so it had to maintain some sort of magic to keep Bobo, Detective Chimp, a pile of goo, because here he is in the urn, and he gets splattered back out. it pulled the demon blood out of Constantine. Now suddenly the demon blood's back in Constantine. I mean, I could see maybe that without the power being there, that Swamp Thing would slowly, you know, revitalize himself. But I don't know. Sometimes the reverse magic thing seems silly. But anyway, so it sets up the whole the Witching Hour crossover that's going to happen between this book and Wonder Woman, which normally would annoy the hell out of me. But I'm actually getting all the books, so it's not that big a deal. You know, as far as that goes for me, but I still think, why couldn't they just told it all in one story? Why did it have to be part of the Wonder Woman story too? Just put it all in one place. Okay. I mean, that's really what you should do. Put it all in one place. And while it's all in one place, don't let it disrupt the main title. Events should not disrupt the main title. Maybe change it afterwards, but not while the title's going on. It should be able to kind of do its own thing, somewhat out of continuity, or, you know, one thing happens before another or whatever. I'll talk about that a little bit more in another book, DC book I'm going to talk about. But yeah. So like I said, moments I really liked about it. The art hooks me on it. And I really like the characters, but there were, you know, the things I thought were kind of silly. And the comic book commentator is in the comments, and he said he had the exact same thought about the Upside Down Man. If he was aware of that, he'd be right side up. I don't know. You know, I mean, because clearly he wanted to model himself after humanoids, but he didn't do a very good job, clearly. What's curious is his mouth is right side up. Because, I mean, that would make no sense for that mouth to be shaped like that. Of course, his ear holes are funky, too. But, I mean, he's a menacing character. He's creepy as all heck. But I just, yeah. So they should have named him. The character should have named him. He shouldn't have named himself. That's random to me. You know, why would it need a name? But anyway. Anyway, and Jen's here, comic book girl. Hey. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I started out reading, I wasn't enjoying it, and then I ended up liking it. But by the end of it, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm back on board with this kind of a thing. So yeah. Quick drink of my bad for me drink. Let's talk Batman comics of sorts. Detective Comics, issue 989. So we get who's behind this murder. And you know, it's Two-Face. You know, they're two Fireflies. There's some other lots of duality things that lead us to this being Two-Face, who is one of my favorite Batman nemesis. I really like him a lot. You know, for a lot of stories. In this one, it is very paint by numbers sort of a story. It all just kind of leads to, oh, you know, by the end of it, you're clearly counting twos to know that it's Two-Face. And lo and behold, he's actually out to just screw with Gordon in some way, and has led Batman along for the ride, sort of a deal. So yeah, I'm not particularly impressed as far as the story goes. But as Luke, Gotham Central, is saying, the art in Detective Comics was good, and it was. It's that, you know, I mean, it's got your traditional, you know, Batman landing and beating the crap out of people, you know, sort of a look to it. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's definitely decent superhero, you know, superhero art. There's some good lines in it that I thought were pretty fun, but I thought the actual, you know, surprise over the Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and all the other stuff was fairly, like I said, paint by numbers. Like, oh, I like this 2-page kind of a spread where it's the Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and then this. Good art. I'm liking this style. I mean, kind of a deal, but there we go. We got Two-Face there, flipping his coin, threatening Gordon. Yeah, this is just kind of I think this is like 3-issue story. I think the next story will tie it up. The artist is Stefan Segvia. Yeah, I'll let you read it for yourself, because I do nothing but destroy people's names. Awesome colors, of course, by Ivan Placina. He does you know, quite decent colors. Seen him on lots of other books, but yeah. So one more issue of this, I think, and then do we get the Tomasi stuff? I think. Can't remember for sure. Anyway, not bad Detective Comics, but not my favorite thing either. Because, like I said, felt very paint by numbers, like something I've read many times, kind of a deal. So Batgirl issue number 27, The Art of the Crime, back in Gotham. So elements of this I really like, and elements that I don't care for so much. So the new writer, Scott, she's clearly settled into writing Batgirl. I like her interpretation of Batgirl. She ends up back in Gotham because she has been zapped by this guy by the name of Grotesque, who does art crimes. Wears this kind of Oni devil mask and uses taser staffs, and ends up zapping Batgirl, messes up her cyber that makes her spine work since she'd been crippled. And so she's messed up. There's threats that she may have to go back to a wheelchair. She's gonna have to go back in for surgery, get a new implant, and she's gonna find all that because she has to beat this Grotesque character. The new thing about this, though, is with the damage that she's taking now, is it's doing some sort of potential neural feedback, and she's actually having mental issues too. She's not able to remember stuff quite so much. So this is all new to her. I mean, she's losing the faculties that she thought she would always have versus potentially losing her legs, which is something she's always kind of dealt with. So the whole threat in her leg thing, talking about now, it bothers me less, but as I'm reading, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know it's part of her character. Maybe she shouldn't move on from it, but I don't want that to be the threat. The threat du jour for her is, oh no, at any moment she could lose those legs again, kind of a deal. So I don't know, those elements. I like how they got her in the new costume. So she's stuck. Her dad's taking care of her. She agrees to go and stay with him while she gets her rest before her surgery. So she has like a prototype of her suit that she had left behind in Gotham at her father's place. So she ends up digging that out, and that's how we get this new costume. And I don't mind this design. Looking at it actually in the book, I actually like it quite a bit. It has, like right here, you see that it has like a small backpack. It makes sense. Some of the elements of why, of her, how she would carry stuff around, carry all of her stuff around. So yeah, I mean, I like this character. I like Grotesque. He is kind of cool looking and whatnot. And, he's, eat the rich kind of an attitude is, great, but clearly messed up because he's at the point where if people have money to waste on these frivolous things that he's stealing and selling in the black market, clearly they deserve to die, sort of craziness. So yeah. And I love in the book now, they have this app. She uses an app when she arrests bad guys or she captures bad guys. She'll send a text to the police. It's this cute little app. And it always says the exact same thing. And it says, you're invited. A crime is being committed in these coordinates. Won't you help me stop it? That's an invite to the police to come and pick up the bad guys. Of course, at the end of this, she has excuse me, man. At the end of it, she has more of her problems with her feedback from her cybernetic link to her legs. She falls out of the window, falls into a dumpster to hide for a while. She wakes back after being unconscious, and then she is accused of murdering the guy at the end of the book. So we'll see what happens next. But yeah, I was concerned, but I'm liking this Batgirl. I'm still enjoying it. It'll stay on my pull for now. I've been having fun with it. So I was all excited for Raven, Daughter of Darkness. This is number 8 of 12. And maybe this is, like I said, this is one of those books I read when I was, thank you, Luke, for the blessing. This is one of those books that I read while I was really tired. So I don't know that I got the full, maybe enjoyment of it. So I may go back and read it again. But so I was all excited because they're going to build this Night Force group together, and then go off and fight something. You know, so we get a little bit of old school coolness with some, you know, modern, you know, type heroes in here with like Tracy 13 and Zatara and some of that sort of stuff. But it just never really fully connected. Didn't feel like it was really these evil riders are riding and they're killing arcanes. They're calling them arcanes. They're killing basically magic, you know, magic people. And they're supposed to be stopping them. Yeah, they rescue this guy and his partner, and you know, he's got some magic elements to him, but we don't know exactly what they are. And I don't know. This issue did not feel very well put together. Oh, Witchboy, Clarion Witchboy is there also as one of the good guys. He's on the Night Force team. He's there because he's been promised that once they're done with all this, that he will get to go back to his realm. So, and the Night Riders are cool. These riders are kind of like magical Grim Reapers. You know, they're pretty awesome. They do some wicked damage to people and whatnot. But I don't know. Like I said, this issue just didn't really feel very put together. We get a little bit of Red Devil in here, Blue Devil's sidekick. Also a Teen Titan for a while. If you go back far enough, he kind of falls apart, crumbles under the pressure. But yeah, I want to like it more than I did. It was not. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't all that great. Like I said, and put together. It just seems kind of dysfunctional. But let me tell you, the ads lately in the DC Comics, clearly there are always ads, but I don't know. It seems like this last week or two, where the ads have been placed at have been extremely disruptive to the flow of the story. So like you'll get an ad right before the final reveal of the issue. So the cliffhanger kind of gets derailed by, Hot Wheels ad or something kind of thing. Kind of a bummer, the placement ad. The last of the DC comics I'll talk about is Heroes in Crisis. If you've been anywhere on the internet, I'm sure you've heard, lots about it one way or the other. This is another Tom King driven book. This one deals in trauma and post-traumatic stress and that sort of thing. The premise is that, from what I could tell, is that Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman set up this house that was supposed to help people deal with trauma and stress and all that kind of thing. You can go there to kind of work through stuff. And we're kind of get this scene of them coming to the house. And everyone's been murdered. It looks like. It's a giant murder scene. Superman finds people murdered out in the fields. And this is like out in the middle of, I don't know, Kansas or something, where it's just all wheat fields and a house stuck out there. And there's people murdered out in the fields. There's people dead inside the building. We see lots of named superheroes, some unnamed superheroes. And meanwhile, while that's going on, in a diner, Booster Gold is sitting down, trying to have a cup of coffee and mumbling about stuff. And Harley shows up, and she's like friendly to start out with. And then she ends up attacking Booster Gold. They fight. They both kind of blame each other for what has supposedly happened at the house, seemingly. I will say this: the characterization of Harley in this book is excellent. She's kind of nutty, but still seems very smart. She's not so totally unhinged as to just be comically or just dumb. So I really like that style of Harley. I am lots of times not a fan of Clayman. The Clayman's art in this is excellent. I will say this also about this book: the cover stock. Can you hear that? It's a hard, a harder card stock type stuff, which is always awesome. I really appreciate that. So we have, like I said, Clayman's art in this is quite excellent. He's here having a cup of coffee. People are like, "Uh-oh, what's going to happen?" And then we get, they're flying across the fields. I do love that picture. Superman flying quickly across the skyline. This kind of shadowed Heroes in Crisis sort of thing. And then we occasionally get these splatterings of different people who are introducing themselves and talking to what I'm assuming is the psychiatric help, which seems to be robots, because at one point we see some wreckage and carnage, and those look to be robotic. So it seems to be that they set up these the art is awesome. They set up these robots, with the personality, wisdom, blah, 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 of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman to kind of help people through things. And instead, by the end of it, Batman is saying, see, what's really happened is that we've just basically turned what would have been help into now it's all going to be about revenge and whatnot. See, here's these wrecked people that are clearly, they're robots. They're leaking, or androids. They're leaking blue blood and that sort of thing. So yeah, but I mean, it's grim. I am somewhat interested. Like I said, the art is pretty outstanding in it. Curious to see what the story is going to be. The uproar this weekend is that Tom King said on a panel today, Saturday, that the deaths in this book are permanent, which of course is not going to make people happy because there are some significantly named characters in this that supposedly are permanently dead. Now, mind you, it's comic books, and what's permanent? A year or two? I don't know. I'm not a huge Flash fan, so it doesn't matter as much to me. But clearly, the Flash fans that I know are pretty upset with this because, of course, Wally's in here. We just got Wally back, basically. Arsenal is in here. So yeah, we'll see exactly how that all plays out. But oh man, this version of Harley where she eats the pie and then goes to town on Booster was really good. I have to be, I was really excited about that part. But I will say this is a grim and gritty and clearly is going to be a freaking depressing book, at least the lion's share of it. So yeah, and not a book for everybody. I wouldn't suggest to anybody who's not wanting to read that kind of thing. It's not for everybody. Do we need this kind of book? No. But do we need any of the superhero books? Probably not. So part of me enjoys the adult take on what would it be like. I mean, because for me, this is kind of falls under the realm of what would it be like if there really were superheroes in the world, real people attempting to do the incredibly hard work that these people do. And what would that be like? Now, are we going to venture into how deep are we going to venture into that? I'm not sure. Or is it just going to be, kill superhero porn? And if it's going to just be that, then that's going to be unfortunate if that's the case. So I'm hoping that I trust Tom King. I'm hoping that past this first issue, we'll delve into all of those other aspects. I'm not saying that we're going to. I'm hoping that's what we do, and I'm hoping that's my expectation that the book's going to do that. So I'm hoping that's the case. That's what we're gonna do. That we're gonna do some soul searching. A look at if these people were real people and had to deal with the kind of horrible stuff that happens in their lives. How do you cope with that? And if that's the case, I will enjoy it. I guess one of the other things about this is this went from 7 issues to 9 issues, and some people are mad about that it's already expanded. Well, the reason that's the case is because those other 2 issues that got added to the end of this were actually going to be their own kind of like a side spin-off story. And they decided, why would we, let's not do that. Let's just put it all in one series, which I appreciate way more. Just put it all together, all in one thing, instead of having side stories. Make it really part of the book. So I'm all for that. Then it'd be 9 issues as opposed to 7 issues with these other 2 oddball issues off someplace else. So reading over the comments, comic book commentator said he has no problem with characters dying, especially when they are derivatives. There are more interesting archers and around 20 other characters that use the Speed Force. True, except Wally especially isn't just another speedster. I mean, he was a significant part of the DC universe of speedsters for a very long time. So, I mean, Arsenal, Speedy, whatever you want to call him, has always been marginally a sidekick. I mean, I liked the character. I thought he had value back in the day when he was originally hooked on drugs and whatnot. Now, this version of Arsenal we have now, I don't know that it's, a loss to the world if he's gone, but that's, is what it is. Because now I'm reading Gotham Central's comments. He says, yeah, I'm okay with Arsenal going. It will prevent Lovedale from revisiting Red Hood and Arsenal for sure. I was worried with the past couple of Red issues that it was headed that way. So agreed. So, I mean, that's a perfectly fine thing that's all done with it. So, and the commentator is basically saying that that he really liked Harley and Booster together in the Heroes of Crisis. Forget Batcat and give me Quinn Goldwedding. That would be fabulous and really strange. And I don't know. And by the way, it is definitively proven in this issue that Harley Quinn hates pudding. So anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I can see why people maybe wouldn't enjoy it. But yeah, I personally, I like it, and I'm really intrigued to see where they go, if they're going to go where I think they are. So that's the part that I'm interested in. Alrighty. I had to blow my nose, and I didn't think anybody wanted to see that. So hopefully my camera is working, because I'm suspicious now. Is it? As I mess with it, see if I can get it to work. Hopefully it's working. So I don't know. I can't tell anymore. Because all I'm seeing is black. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Like everybody in my house is using bandwidth today, so not a good thing. Okay, there we are. Whew. Okay, I think I'm back. Oh, we won't mess with the camera again. So I don't really have much in the way of DC news. I know a ton of stuff. A ton of stuff was announced. Like I said, I'll be talking about it tomorrow morning with Longbox Review. So if you aren't subscribed to Longbox Review, just type into your Google there. Well, not Google, but into your search engine on YouTube, Longbox Review, and you can check us out. We'll be on tomorrow morning at some point, chatting about all of the latest news about DC. So anyway, with that, I'm going to go on, do some independent books. Where do I want to start? Let's start here. Let's start here with The Wicked and Divine. This is 1373 AD. Super enjoyed the issue, if nothing else, because of the Ryan Kelly art. He's just a fabulous artist on the book. I really enjoy his art. The guy needs a permanent gig. It blows my mind that he does not have a permanent gig. I just don't get it. But this is kind of like a side issue. Tell us about the divinity back, in this case, 1373, during the plague years. It's got Lucy in it. It's got Lucifer, and it's got Ananke in it, basically. We tell this kind of interesting story. I don't know that it adds any depth, really very much depth in value to the overall story of the thing. Clearly, this is a story that they wouldn't have been able to have told, 6 months ago, because of some of the revelations that have happened. But like I said, I did enjoy it. It's another different take. At the very end of it, we get to see the heads. I mean, at least it's heads in that bag, right? At the very end of it, with the younger Ananke walking off after the murder of her older self. Basically, she's clearly figured out how to cross over, sort of a deal. So we're coming down to the last arc. Really, really curious to see how that last arc plays out in this. Just interesting stuff. Let's see. Let's talk some Cullen Bunn books, shall we? Cold Spots. So issue number 1, I love the cover of. Wasn't necessarily super excited by the actual story itself. This is issue number 2. Another kind of good horror-ish kind of a cover here. I really like this issue. This issue kind of deals with the aftermath of the people who got flash frozen basically and then broken apart into bloody little chunks. We find out that this area that our main character is in, Garen, I think his name is, or Kerry, his name, last name's Kerry, or Kerr. It's Kerr, Kerr, right? I believe. Yes, Dan Kerr. You know, we find out that we find out that this is a reoccurring thing. It happens every year. These cold spots. It's kind of it wrecks the tourism. It kills fishermen. All this stuff. He goes out to this island. The island's got all kinds of spooky, weird stuff at it. And he gets to this house where his wife and his daughter are being held at. There's all this implication about ghosts and spirits and that sort of stuff. I don't know. This issue just gave a very spooky feel to it. So I would say this issue for me worked as far as being a scary comic. I mean, not that I was scared, but it definitely had the kind of creep factor to it. It felt creepy. So yeah, I'm interested in the next issue because of the way this one kind of landed it. He gets this island. It's all eerie. You know, there's these like ghosty things they're kind of following him around. Some of the color elements of the book are really intriguing and really eye-catching. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I did enjoy this issue much more interested in it because of that. I think this is only like 4 issues though, which I think is good. I don't know that it's something that I would think would drag on for a long time. 5 issues. So yeah. The other Cullen Bunn book, which I really love the cover of, Bone Parish. So this is basically a gangster book. One group running a narcotic that everybody else wants. The people from New York have shown up to try and to buy them out from New Orleans, and they're kind of this drug that they have that's basically made from human ash. You snort it, drink it, lick it, all the things you could do with cocaine, basically. You ingest it, and then you kind of have the memories, live the life, reenact some aspect of that dead person's life. Meanwhile, while New York is there trying to buy them out, the Mexican cartels have shown up, and they don't want to buy them out. They're going to just do a takeover. So we get this, kind of gang war starting in this. There's a cool element here where one of the guys that's part of the group that's making the drug, this drug that they're consuming that allows them to lose their lives. He has been packing around this special stuff that his sister made for him, and basically it's the ashes of some I don't know, like Gold Star veteran. So he snorts it, and he's like great at being a sniper. His hand-to-hand combat is awesome, and he fights a bunch of guys. And I love the way they do the art in that, where he's fighting because he's having these flashbacks. So he looks like he is part of the military as he's wrecking this drug cartel that's trying to take them out. The art, he snorts up this stuff, snorts it up down there at the bottom while his brother's trying to get away. And so we have these kind of flashbacks to, like the Middle East or something like that. And here's the current world, and then his flashbacks as he's just sniping and taking people out and wrecking them all, kind of thing, which is pretty cool. Some other elements going on in here are matriarch of the gang in New Orleans is being wooed by the guy from New York. Is it all a ploy to buy out, or is he actually really interested in her? We don't know. The younger brother has been captured by the cartel, and the cartel is getting ready to feed him to a crocodile at the end of it. So, or an alligator, I shouldn't say crocodile because it's America, an alligator at the end of it. So, you know, we'll see that we get this whole kind of little mini story about the woman who's making this drug too. It's her dead boyfriend that she's learned this stuff from. She is actually snorting his ashes to see if she can learn more stuff about him. Ultimately, she learns stuff that she does not want to know about him and ends up actually hurting herself. So I don't know if she's in trouble now or not, because she sees the death of her boyfriend, and you're not supposed to experience that part because then it violently kind of happens to you. So now she is suffering from a gut wound that doesn't really exist, kind of a thing. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, Bone Parish it's been good. It's been enjoyable. I don't know how many issues this book is going to be. So not exactly sure on that. Let's see. Take a drink of my drink. Okay. Let's talk Man-Eaters. Issue number 1. I got the sparkly cover, and I will say this. I really like this book. It's somewhat tongue-in-cheek in the whole the cat thing. So the premise of the book is that when is that something has happened, and the condition you can get if you're exposed to cat feces, you know, changing litter boxes or petting cats or that sort of stuff, and it is somewhat of a threat to pregnant women. Techiitis or something like that is what it's called. So it has mutated. That disease or that condition normally doesn't affect most people. It gets some people sick. It can cause some birth defects supposedly, but large all in all, it's not a threat. It's just kind of it's the thing that's there. Well, it mutates, and it mutates in this story to the point where when young women first get their menstrual cycle, they can be affected by this thing, and they literally turn into giant cats, giant like werecats that tear up, consume, eat, and kill everything in place. They become monsters, basically. So the government, upon finding this out, has put estrogen and a bunch of other stuff in the water to basically neutralize, women's uteruses. So it effectively makes it to where this doesn't happen, except a few people get through the cracks. A few people, these doses in the water supply and all that kind of stuff does not, it doesn't work. And so there's always this threat. So this is told through this young girl's eyes here. She is fun. Her dad is a policeman. She loves her dad. Her dad loves her. We get this whole kind of spiel about, who her dad is. He's a policeman. He could look like these guys, where it's Magnum PI and Don Johnson from Miami Vice, or when he's a wreck drunk. But no, he's actually a great dad. He works for the police department. He works on homicide. There's this great page here of her dad, and it's, it's father blueprint. He's pretty much a regular dad. He's got beard dandruff. He's got anti-concussion, accessory, embarrassing shirt, allowance shortage. So he's wearing sweats and stuff. Things dad loves, X-Files, the Milwaukee Brewers, crosswords, and of course me is super high up on the list. And the random things that dad says is pretty funny too. Things dad might say. It's got a spinner. Do you have homework tonight? Eat a vegetable. Why are you crying? You're not wearing that. No more screen time. Insert Monty Python reference here. Maybe anyway, bunch of fun stuff, dad type things and whatnot. But he's a homicide detective, and he's checking out somebody has been mauled. They clearly decide that it must be a this cat problem, as they call it. There's lots of little kind of fun innuendo and weird stuff placed in places that I think is fun. Like I said, it's somewhat tongue-in-cheeky. It's somewhat, you know, in your face at, you know, kind of at the patriarchy, at the whole, I mean, like there's a Bitch Planet poster up here on this girl that they have a gunpoint because they've heard everybody has to drag their kids in to get them tested to see if they're the ones that are dangerous. Are they the killer cat? You know, sort of a deal. But all these girls, they're lined up with all these feminist t-shirts that they're wearing. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I liked all the elements. It was heavy-handed in a way that clearly, we're being heavy-handed, but also poignant at the same time. So that all worked for me. The fake ads are beautiful in it too. Yeah, I mean, so I really enjoyed it. Now, I know that if we look at the greater, you know, what does it mean to be a woman? And if you listen to an interview with the writer, Chelsea Cain, it becomes a more problematic book. But if I read the book itself on face value, I thought, like I said, I thought it was fun. I get why people are upset with the fact, because the implications are here is that if you don't menstruate, you're not a woman, which of course is all kinds of problematic in a number of ways. But yeah, I even like the end stuff, the kind of snarky, you know, are men being targeted by cats? You know, that take the test, you know, the urgent, that most cats take place at home. Is your cat behaving strangely? Know the signs. Which of the following list of words best describes your cat or a girlfriend? Check all that apply. And it's all kinds of stereotypical stuff that might happen when somebody's having a period. Does your cat or girlfriend suffer from mood swings? Does your cat or girlfriend appear to be in a mental fog? Is your cat or girlfriend engaged in any of the following behaviors last 24 hours? Sleeping more than usual, self-soothing rituals, you know, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I don't know. It's snarky. And I don't know. I liked it, or maybe I liked it more because of the current climate that's going on. But I look forward to the next issue. Like I said, I actually think as far as the, to some degree, as far as the feminist drumbeat, I think this is well, fun. It's a funner drumbeat as opposed to Bitch Planet kind of a drumbeat, and that's because they're just two different kind of things, but both clearly addressing in some sense the same sort of stuff. Like I said, that was fun. I say a lot today, or every day. Faith is back. Dreamside, issue number 1. This issue is pretty much all set up. It takes off where the last one was. She is basically, Faith is basically considered enemy of the state. She kind of got she didn't get exposed, but they put on an illusion. This alien cat put on an illusion that made it look like she murdered somebody. So everybody hates her. So she's been having to go in hiding. She can't really be Faith and stuff. And she ends up being Faith briefly, gets caught by the police because she can't figure out how to walk away from the police without hurting the police. She gets rescued by this girl who needs her help. So this issue is largely set up for what's coming next. We're gonna deal with Dr. Mirage, who's the character in the Valiant world that I actually enjoy. I need to read more about her because she's really interesting. She taps into ghosts and that sort of thing. And I'm assuming this is all going to take place in some sort of dreamscape, which is why it's called Dreamside. But we'll see. I just dig Faith. I mean, Jody Houser has a great way of writing this character with the right amount of pop culture reference in her just to make her kind of fun and amusing to read, even when she's having a hard time. So, yeah. Friendo, I got it for the art. I am a Simons fan from Punk's Not Dead. Love the cover here. It's all his art, his coloring. The inside, it's not colored by him. There's lots of weird pictures in here where somebody must be afraid to draw nipples or something, because we see nude bodies, but they don't. The nipples are gone, and to me, it's, I don't know. It's alien to see these people without shirts and no nipples. Is that weird? Is that weird of me to think that's weird? It seems weird to me. It just seems very alien. So it throws me out of the story a lot because of that. So the premise of this is this kind of down on his luck guy. You live in LA, trying to be an actor, trying to be a stunt guy, trying to be all this stuff. He's got a rich girlfriend. The rich girlfriend buys him these glasses, which basically give him a virtual friend. His virtual friend is named Jerry. It's modeled after his personality, kind of a thing. And there's a big storm and sand blowing in. Plus, there's all the fires around LA. Make it till they can't see, and he kind of gets lost and stumbles around, and people get hurt. And I don't know. The first issue gives you ideas, but doesn't really give you any sense of where the story's going. So, not something I would necessarily recommend to anybody, because the first issue doesn't really give you enough to grab a hold of to really. There's not enough about this character to be invested in him and the situation. So. And like I said, whereas a lot of the art I really like, all the stuff without nipples is just stranger than strange to me, though. So I don't know why you would do that. I mean, it just, yeah, it's very alien, very alien. And then finally, A Beast of Burden. This is issue 2 of Wise Dogs and Eldritch Men. This is the first time I actually see humans in one of these books. Now, I have not read all of the Beast of Burden stuff, but I've read a good chunk of it. And I don't remember ever seeing people in it before. In this, there's an actual person in it. He's like a vet. He's got an old bulldog, and he talks to the animals. The animals talk to him like it's no big deal, like it's a normal thing. So I don't know. That's all seems strange. Lots of gore by the end of this book. Some really, destructive magic is going on, and they're fighting evil on quite a few fronts. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. This issue had some like strains in relationships that did feel like you needed to have read the book for quite a while to understand those strains. But not so much that it made it inhibitive to read it if you hadn't been checking out the book up until this point. But I was really surprised by the whole human interaction part of it. That was really intriguing. We get this conversation between a dog and his human partner, and the love that was there and the loss that's there between some of them and whatnot was somewhat interesting and whatnot. But anyway, continues to be a fun book. I like it. I like the premise. I like the idea of these animals secretly out fighting, all these evil things. There's these mutated raccoon things in here that have human faces that are just freaky as hell. They come upon them and they go shoo them off because they just think they're raccoons being disgusting raccoons. And then they turn around and they're pretty gnarly looking. So yeah, you get this picture of the raccoons chewing on some kind of magical beastie. And then the raccoons turn around and that's what they look like. Just freaking scarier than hell. So that was cool. Those were cool. Those were cool beasties. Those things were pretty cool beasties that they fight and kind of zap. And now they're waiting outside this town. They kind of decide if they go in. They decide they're going to go in because they haven't gotten any signals. They're on their own, and they get in there and they get to this barn, and there is just wholesale slaughter inside the barn. It is just blood and entrails all over the inside of the barn. So we'll see what happens next. 5-issue series, I believe. This was issue 2 for the next. And that is it. That's it for my books. That's it for my conversation. I don't know. Hopefully I had a picture here at the end of this thing. We didn't spend the last 15 minutes or whatever of me talking a blank screen. You couldn't see what I was showing. But anyway, that's it this week. Next week, I'm hoping we'll have other people on the show. It'll be a round table again. We'll be talking about whatever books. I don't know. Discount Comic Book Service, where I get my books from. They moved again. They moved back to where they were for a lot of years because the Memphis thing was just not working out for them. They couldn't get good employees there. They're having lots of shipping problems. So they moved back to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Their equipment that was supposed to be up and running, they've been having problems with it. So it's making their whole shipping process slower. My books were supposedly in the mail at the end of this week. So hopefully they're moving. I do know for me personally, Monday is a holiday for how I get my books. The post office is closed on Monday. So it's going to delay my books further. So I'm betting I don't get my books until, if I'm lucky, by Wednesday. So that's going to leave me with a bit of a challenge to get them read, but hopefully I have them read by Saturday, and we'll be on here and we'll be talking some great books. I'm sure I'll have another 15, 16 books, because that seems to be the norm again for what I'm reading until some of my independent books kick back in and whatnot. But anyway, that's it. Thank you guys for coming on and chatting with me and watching, and anybody who watches it after the fact, thank you once again, and I'll see y'all next week. Have a great one.